Have you ever felt like you're constantly running after someone who keeps moving further away? That sinking feeling of giving your all and still being met with indifference is one of the most exhausting experiences. And yet, many of us persist in the chase. Why? Because we've bought into the myth that the harder we try, the more likely we'll succeed. It's a deeply ingrained notion, one that whispers, if you let go, you'll lose them forever. But what if that belief is wrong? What if the very act of chasing is the reason they're slipping away? And more importantly, what if stopping the chase isn't about giving up, it's about gaining something far more valuable? This isn't just a pep talk. It's a radical shift in perspective, one rooted in both psychology and ancient wisdom like Stoicism. Imagine the freedom that comes from no longer needing to chase. Imagine the confidence you'd feel if you focused on yourself instead of trying to win someone else over. This transformation isn't just possible, it's life-changing. And when you stop chasing, you might just discover that what you thought you were losing wasn't meant for you, or was waiting for you all along. So what happens when you stop chasing them? Let's uncover the first of 6 transformative truths. 1. The cost of chasing. Why you're losing more than you gain. Why do we chase? It's a question worth pondering. At first glance, the answer might seem simple. We chase because we want something. Whether it's love, approval, or a sense of belonging, the pursuit feels justified. But beneath the surface lies a deeper question. What is this chase really costing you? Let's be honest, chasing someone who isn't reciprocating your effort takes a toll. And that toll is heavier than you think. The more you invest in this one-sided pursuit, the more you're draining resources that could be spent elsewhere. Your time, energy, self-esteem, and even your sense of identity. Consider your time. How many hours have you spent analyzing their texts, strategizing how to win them over, or waiting for their attention? Time is one of the few truly non-renewable resources we have. Every second spent chasing someone who doesn't value you is a second taken away from activities, people, or dreams that could truly enrich your life. What could you accomplish if you redirected that time? Then there's your energy. Emotional chasing isn't passive, it's an all-consuming endeavor. You're constantly on edge, looking for signs, interpreting their every move, and trying to guess what they're thinking. This mental marathon leaves little energy for anything else. And when you're drained, how can you fully show up for yourself or others who genuinely care about you? Perhaps the most insidious cost of chasing is the damage to your self-esteem. Each time you bend over backward for someone who doesn't reciprocate, you reinforce the idea that you're not enough as you are. Over time, this belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The harder you chase, the smaller you feel. But ask yourself this: when did I decide that my worth depends on someone else's attention? Stoic philosophy, a timeless framework for understanding human behavior, offers a powerful insight here. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The act of chasing places your sense of worth in someone else's hands, a power they never deserve to hold. What if instead you reclaim that power by focusing on your own growth and well-being? What if you embrace Stoicism by detaching from external validation and finding strength within? The chase can even affect your physical health. Stress, anxiety, and sleepless nights aren't just abstract consequences. They're real, tangible impacts on your body. The more you chase, the more your body bears the brunt of the emotional upheaval. Is it worth sacrificing your health for someone who might not even notice? But here's the paradox. The harder you chase, the less appealing you become. Human psychology is wired to value what is scarce, not what is overly available. When you're constantly chasing, you signal desperation, not confidence. And confidence, as Stoicism teaches us, is rooted in self-control. Are you willing to trade your dignity for the slim chance of approval? Stopping the chase isn't just about preserving your resources, it's about rediscovering them. When you stop pouring your energy into someone who isn't reciprocating, you free yourself to invest in things that truly matter. You create space for personal growth, genuine connections, and a life that aligns with your values. Imagine the possibilities. What hobbies could you explore? What relationships could you nurture? What dreams could you finally pursue? Ultimately, the cost of chasing isn't just about what you lose, it's about what you miss out on. Every moment spent in pursuit is a moment not spent building the life you deserve. So I ask you, what are you willing to sacrifice? And is the chase really worth the price you're paying? When you stop chasing, you might feel an initial sense of loss. But that's not loss, it's liberation. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one where you prioritize yourself and rediscover your power. The Stoic mindset teaches us that true freedom comes from letting go of what we cannot control. By stopping the chase, you're not giving up, you're taking back control. You're reclaiming your time, your energy, your confidence, and your peace of mind. So what will you do with this newfound freedom? That's the real question. And the answer lies not in chasing someone else, but in finally choosing yourself. 2. Letting go. The power of shifting the focus to yourself. What happens when you stop chasing them and turn that energy inward? It's a question that holds transformative potential, yet it's often overshadowed by the fear of letting go. The idea of focusing on yourself might feel foreign or even selfish, but it's far from it. In fact, shifting the focus to yourself is one of the most selfless acts you can undertake for yourself, for your relationships, and for your life. But let's face it, the moment you stop chasing, a vacuum forms. It's as if the pursuit was filling an invisible gap in your life, distracting you from deeper questions like, who am I without the chase? What do I truly want for myself? These are the questions that can set you free, and answering them starts with a conscious decision to shift your focus. The truth is, chasing someone is not about them. It's about you. It's about the stories you tell yourself, the beliefs you hold about your worth, and the patterns you've adopted over time. What if you broke that cycle? What if you channeled the energy you've been giving away into building a life so rich, so fulfilling, that your worth became undeniable, not just to others, but to yourself? Think about how much of your mental space is occupied by the person you've been chasing. You replay conversations, overanalyze their actions, and strategize your next move. But here's the thing, that mental energy is yours, and it's being wasted on something you cannot control. Imagine redirecting it toward your passions, goals, and dreams. What could you accomplish? Who could you become? Who could you become? When you shift your focus to yourself, you begin a process of self-reclamation. It's not easy. At first it feels uncomfortable, even unnatural. After all, the chase has become a habit, a coping mechanism. But habits can be broken, and new ones can take their place. The key is to start small. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today that brings me joy or fulfillment? Whether it's learning a new skill, reconnecting with an old hobby, or simply taking a moment to reflect, these small steps create momentum. Stoicism provides profound guidance here. The Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control and to release attachment to outcomes we cannot. Marcus Aurelius reminds us you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you stop chasing, you reclaim that power. You stop living reactively, dictated by someone else's actions or inactions, and start living intentionally, guided by your own values. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean isolating yourself from others. It means prioritizing your well-being and aligning your actions with your true desires. This process is deeply transformative. Over time, you'll notice changes not just in how you see yourself, but in how others see you. Confidence is magnetic, and there's nothing more compelling than someone who knows their worth and doesn't seek validation externally. Take a moment to imagine what this looks like in your life. Instead of chasing someone who's indifferent, you're pursuing your goals with passion. Instead of over-analyzing their behavior, you're immersing yourself in experiences that bring you joy. Instead of seeking approval, you're cultivating relationships that are mutual and fulfilling. Doesn't that sound like freedom? Now let's get practical. How do you start shifting the focus to yourself? It begins with self-awareness. Ask yourself, what am I chasing and why? Often the act of chasing is tied to unmet needs or fears. Maybe you fear being alone, or perhaps you've been conditioned to believe that your worth is tied to someone else's attention. Recognizing these underlying drivers is the first step to breaking free. Next, set clear boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. Commit to honoring your time and energy. Practice saying no to situations that don't serve you and yes to opportunities that align with your growth. This isn't just about protecting yourself, it's about creating space for what truly matters. And finally, cultivate a daily practice of gratitude and self-reflection. Stoicism encourages us to examine our thoughts and actions regularly. Take a moment each day to reflect on what you've accomplished, what you're grateful for, and what you can improve. This simple practice builds self-awareness and reinforces your sense of agency. As you shift your focus inward, something remarkable happens. You begin to attract the right people and opportunities into your life. Why? Because you're no longer operating from a place of lack or desperation. You're radiating confidence, authenticity, and self-respect, qualities that are inherently attractive. And even if the person you were chasing takes notice, you'll find that your perspective has changed. You're no longer seeking their approval. You're centered in your own worth. Remember, letting go isn't about rejecting others. It's about embracing yourself. It's about stepping into the life you deserve, not the life you've been settling for. And as you do, you'll realize that the love and fulfillment you've been chasing were always within your reach, waiting for you to claim them. Now, before we move on, let me ask you, what's one way you can focus on yourself today? What's one small shift you can make to reclaim your energy and direct it toward your growth? Take a moment to reflect on this, and if you're feeling inspired, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you're ready to fully embrace this journey, don't forget to like this video and comment number 1 below. Your engagement matters. It's how we build a community of growth and self-discovery. And hey, if you're enjoying this conversation, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part of this transformative journey. Together, we'll uncover even more truths about what happens when you stop chasing and start choosing yourself. 3. The psychology behind being pursued. Have you ever noticed how people tend to value what feels just out of reach? It's a curious quirk of human nature. The moment you stop chasing someone, something shifts, not just in your own perspective, but in theirs as well. Suddenly, the dynamic changes. You're no longer the pursuer, you become the pursued. But why does this happen? The answer lies in the fascinating psychology of attraction and value. When you're chasing someone, the message you send, whether intentionally or not, is one of neediness. It's as if you're saying your attention is essential to my happiness. Even if you don't voice it directly, your actions often reveal this underlying sentiment. And let's be honest, neediness is rarely attractive. Why? Because it suggests a lack of self-sufficiency, a void you're asking someone else to fill. People, consciously or not, are drawn to those who radiate confidence and independence, not to those who seem overly reliant on external validation. Now contrast this with the power of being pursued. When you step back and stop chasing, you signal something entirely different. You demonstrate that your worth is not tied to anyone else's approval. This shift is magnetic. It piques curiosity. It makes people wonder, why aren't they chasing anymore? What changed? Did I misjudge their value? This phenomenon isn't just anecdotal, it's backed by psychological principles. One key concept here is scarcity. Human beings are wired to place a higher value on things that seem limited or exclusive. When you're constantly available, always reaching out, and overly accommodating, you diminish your perceived value. On the other hand, when you're less accessible, when your time and attention become a privilege rather than a given, you become more desirable. People start to see you as someone worth pursuing. Another psychological factor at play is the principle of reciprocity. When someone feels that you're doing all the work in the relationship, whether it's initiating conversations, planning meetups, or expressing interest, they have little incentive to contribute. But when you stop chasing, it creates a space for reciprocity. If they genuinely value the connection, they'll step up to fill that space. If they don't, their lack of effort becomes glaringly obvious, and that clarity is a gift in itself. But let's dig deeper. Why do people react so strongly when you stop chasing them? It's because your behavior disrupts their expectations. When someone is used to being the center of your attention, your decision to withdraw creates a cognitive dissonance. They start to question the narrative they built about you. Why did they stop trying? Did I misinterpret their feelings? Are they moving on? This mental shift often compels them to reevaluate their own behavior and feelings toward you. It's also worth noting that stepping back doesn't just change how others perceive you, it changes how you perceive yourself. By ceasing the chase, you're making a bold statement to yourself: I am enough as I am. This internal shift is profoundly empowering. It strengthens your confidence, fosters self-respect, and reinforces the belief that your worth isn't dependent on anyone else's validation. At this point, some of you might be thinking, but what if they lose interest entirely? What if stepping back means they'll forget about me? This fear is natural, but it's also rooted in scarcity thinking, the belief that their attention is the only thing keeping you afloat. The truth is, if someone's interest fades simply because you stop chasing, they were never truly invested in the first place. Wouldn't you rather know that now than continue pouring energy into a connection that isn't mutual? Stoicism offers valuable wisdom here. Epictetus teaches us to focus on what we can control and release attachment to what we cannot. You cannot control how someone else feels or behaves, but you can control how you show up in the world. By embodying Stoic relationships, you learn to anchor yourself in self-respect and clarity rather than fleeting emotions. This mindset not only enhances your relationships but also elevates your overall quality of life. Let's explore how this shift unfolds in practical terms. Imagine a scenario where you've been chasing someone, texting first, making plans, and always going the extra mile to get their attention. Now, you decide to stop. At first, it feels strange, even uncomfortable. You're breaking a pattern, and your mind resists the change. But slowly, you start to notice the benefits. Your mental energy isn't consumed by over-analyzing their every move. You have more time to focus on your passions, your goals, and your own well-being. Meanwhile, the other person begins to notice your absence. Maybe they send a text to check in. Perhaps they start initiating plans. Or maybe they remain silent, and that silence speaks volumes. Whatever their reaction, the outcome is revealing. It provides clarity about where they stand, and more importantly, where you should direct your energy moving forward. Here's the irony. By stepping back, you're not just preserving your self-respect, you're also creating an opportunity for a more balanced and authentic connection. When you're no longer chasing, the relationship dynamic shifts. Instead of feeling one-sided, it becomes a space for mutual effort and appreciation. And if that mutuality isn't there, that's not a reflection of your worth, it's simply a sign that this person isn't the right fit for your journey. Of course, none of this happens overnight. The process of letting go and stepping back requires patience, courage, and self-awareness. It's easy to slip back into old patterns, especially when doubt creeps in. That's why it's crucial to remind yourself of the bigger picture. Why are you doing this? What's at stake if you continue chasing? And what do you stand to gain by focusing on yourself instead? One of the most powerful aspects of this journey is the personal growth it inspires. By stopping the chase, you're forced to confront the fears and insecurities that kept you in that cycle. You learn to sit with discomfort, to face uncertainty, and to build resilience. These lessons extend far beyond relationships, they enrich every aspect of your life. You become more grounded, more self-assured, and more capable of navigating challenges with grace and confidence. Ultimately, the psychology behind being pursued is a reflection of the energy you project. When you're chasing, your energy says, I need you to complete me. When you step back, your energy says, I am whole as I am. This shift is palpable, and it changes the way others respond to you. More importantly, it changes the way you respond to yourself. So let me ask you, what kind of energy are you projecting right now? Are you chasing or are you choosing yourself? Take a moment to reflect on how you can create a shift in your own life. The answers might surprise you, and the results will undoubtedly empower you. In the next section, we'll delve into actionable steps to stop chasing and create a blueprint for lasting change. It's one thing to understand the dynamics at play. It's another to put them into practice. Stay tuned, because the transformation continues. 4. Stop the chase. A practical blueprint for change. By now, you've seen the cost of chasing, the power of focusing on yourself, and the psychology behind being pursued. But how do you actually stop chasing and create a new dynamic, not just in your relationships, but in your entire life? Let's turn these ideas into action with a step-by-step blueprint that will empower you to break free from old patterns and embrace a new way of being. The first step to stopping the chase is awareness. Ask yourself, why am I chasing? This isn't always an easy question to answer. Sometimes the chase is fueled by fear of being alone, fear of losing someone you care about, or fear of not being enough. Other times it's driven by societal expectations or the belief that effort equals love. But here's the truth. Chasing someone who doesn't reciprocate isn't love, it's self-abandonment. Take a moment to reflect on this. Are you chasing because you genuinely believe this person values you, or are you chasing to fill a void within yourself? When you recognize the underlying motivations, you create space for transformation. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Next, set boundaries. Boundaries are the foundation of healthy relationships and self-respect. They're not about pushing people away. They're about protecting your energy and ensuring that your interactions are reciprocal. Start small. If you're always the one initiating contact, pause and wait for them to reach out. If you feel drained by their lack of effort, take a step back and prioritize your own well-being. These actions might feel uncomfortable at first, but they're essential for creating balance. Here's a crucial mindset shift. Stopping the chase doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're stepping up for yourself. You're choosing to invest in a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. Remember, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. You cannot control how someone else feels or behaves, but you can control how you respond. One powerful strategy for breaking the chase cycle is to redirect your energy. Every time you feel the urge to chase, channel that energy into something that uplifts you. Pursue your passions, engage in activities that bring you joy, and surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are. The more you focus on building a fulfilling life, the less tempting it becomes to chase someone who isn't contributing to it. Another key element of this blueprint is self-reflection. Take time to evaluate the relationships in your life. Ask yourself, is this connection mutual? Do they value my time and effort? Do I feel uplifted or depleted after interacting with them? These questions help you discern whether a relationship is worth your energy. And if the answer is no, it's okay to let go. Remember, letting go isn't a loss, it's a gift you give yourself. As you implement these changes, you'll likely notice something remarkable. Your sense of self-worth begins to grow. You start to realize that your value isn't determined by someone else's attention. It comes from within, from the way you treat yourself and the standards you uphold in your relationships. Of course, this journey isn't without its challenges. There will be moments of doubt and discomfort, especially if you've been chasing for a long time. But every step you take away from the chase is a step toward freedom. You're breaking free from the need for external validation and embracing the power of self-respect. One of the most rewarding aspects of this process is the clarity it brings. When you stop chasing, you gain a new perspective on your relationships. You see them for what they truly are, not what you wish them to be. And that clarity allows you to make empowered decisions about where to invest your time and energy. So how do you stay consistent on this path? Start by celebrating small wins. Each time you choose yourself over the chase, acknowledge your progress. These small victories build momentum and reinforce your commitment to change. And don't hesitate to seek support from friends, mentors, or a like-minded community. Sharing your journey with others not only provides encouragement but also reminds you that you're not alone. Let me ask you, what's one thing you can do today to stop chasing and start choosing yourself? Maybe it's setting a boundary, exploring a new passion, or simply taking a moment to reflect. Whatever it is, take that step and notice how it feels to prioritize your well-being. If this message resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video and comment number 1 below if you're ready to stop chasing and start thriving. Your engagement shows that you're part of a community committed to growth and transformation. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part of this journey. Together, we're building a space for self-discovery, empowerment, and meaningful connection. Let's keep growing stronger, one choice at a time. In the next section, we'll uncover what happens when you finally stop chasing, the surprising shifts, the unexpected clarity, and the new opportunities that emerge. 5. What happens when you stop chasing? A surprising shift. What happens when you finally stop chasing? It's a question loaded with fear, curiosity, and even hope. The decision to stop can feel like stepping into the unknown, leaving behind a familiar, if unsatisfying, pattern. But what comes next often surprises those who take the leap. It's not emptiness, but clarity. Not loss, but freedom. And most importantly, it's not the end of your story, but the beginning of a richer, more authentic chapter. Let's break down what truly happens when you stop chasing. First, there's a shift in your energy. Chasing someone, whether it's for their love, attention, or approval, takes a tremendous toll. It drains your emotional reserves and leaves you feeling depleted. When you stop chasing, you redirect that energy inward. Suddenly, you're no longer consumed by what someone else thinks or feels. Instead, you have the space to focus on your own growth, your own passions, and your own peace of mind. This shift is palpable. It changes the way you carry yourself, the way you think, and the way you interact with the world. You start to exude a quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't scream for attention but commands it nonetheless. And here's the irony. By no longer chasing, you often become more magnetic. People are drawn to those who know their worth and don't need to prove it. This is a perfect example of the Stoic principle that true power comes from within, not from external validation. One of the most profound things that happens when you stop chasing is that you gain clarity about the other person. Chasing often clouds your judgment. You're so focused on winning them over that you overlook red flags, make excuses for their behavior, or misinterpret their intentions. When you step back, the fog lifts. You see things as they truly are, not as you wish them to be. And this clarity is a gift. It allows you to make decisions based on reality, not fantasy. For example, you might realize that the person you were chasing was never fully invested in the relationship. Or perhaps you see that their actions don't align with their words. This isn't easy to confront, but it's liberating. It frees you from the illusion that they were the key to your happiness. And once you're free, you can focus on building connections that are reciprocal and fulfilling. Another surprising outcome of stopping the chase is that it often sparks a reaction in the other person. When someone is used to being chased, your decision to step back disrupts their expectations. They may begin to question their own feelings and behavior. Why aren't you reaching out anymore? Have you moved on? Are they losing something they took for granted? This shift in dynamic can lead to one of two outcomes. Either they step up and make an effort, or they fade away. Either way, you gain valuable insight into their true character. But let's be clear. The goal of stopping the chase isn't to manipulate someone into pursuing you. It's about reclaiming your own power and prioritizing your own well-being. If they step up, it's a bonus. If they don't, you're still better off because you've stopped wasting energy on a one-sided pursuit. One of the most beautiful aspects of stopping the chase is the peace it brings. When you're chasing someone, you're in a constant state of anxiety. You're always waiting for their response, analyzing their every move, and second-guessing your own actions. It's exhausting. But when you stop, that anxiety begins to fade. You realize that your worth isn't tied to their attention, and you stop seeking validation from an external source. Instead, you find it within yourself. This inner peace is transformative. It changes the way you approach not just relationships, but life as a whole. You become less reactive and more intentional. You're no longer driven by the need to prove yourself or win someone over. Instead, you're guided by your own values and desires. This is the essence of Stoicism, focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot. Another unexpected benefit of stopping the chase is that it creates space for new opportunities. When you're fixated on one person, you often miss out on other possibilities, whether it's meeting new people, pursuing new interests, or embracing new experiences. But when you stop chasing, you open yourself up to the unknown. You allow life to surprise you, and often those surprises are far more fulfilling than anything you could have planned. Take a moment to imagine this. Instead of chasing someone who's indifferent, you're cultivating relationships with people who genuinely value and appreciate you. Instead of pouring your energy into someone who doesn't reciprocate, you're investing it in your own growth and happiness. Instead of waiting for someone else to complete you, you're realizing that you're already whole. And here's the ultimate realization. Stopping the chase isn't about giving up on love or connection. It's about redefining what those things mean to you. It's about choosing quality over quantity, authenticity over approval, and self-respect over desperation. It's about building stoic relationships that are rooted in mutual respect and shared values, not in one-sided effort or unmet expectations. When you stop chasing, you also develop a deeper sense of gratitude. You begin to appreciate the people and opportunities that are already in your life. You recognize the abundance around you instead of fixating on what's missing. This shift in perspective is incredibly powerful. It changes your outlook, your energy, and your interactions with others. Of course, this journey isn't without its challenges. There will be moments of doubt, especially if the person you were chasing starts to show interest again. It's tempting to fall back into old patterns, to interpret their renewed attention as a sign that you were right to chase them. But remember, true change comes from consistency. Stay grounded in your decision to stop chasing and focus on the bigger picture. To stay on track, remind yourself of the progress you've made. Reflect on how much lighter, freer, and more confident you feel since letting go. Remind yourself of the clarity you've gained and the opportunities you've created. And most importantly, remind yourself that your worth is not determined by someone else's attention. In the end, stopping the chase is about more than just relationships. It's about reclaiming your power, rediscovering your worth, and realigning your life with your true values. It's about embracing the wisdom of Stoicism and living with intention, not reaction. It's about creating a life that's rich, meaningful, and fulfilling, one that doesn't depend on the approval of others, but is guided by your own sense of purpose. So what happens when you stop chasing? Everything changes. You find clarity, peace, and freedom. You attract better relationships and opportunities. And most importantly, you become the person you were always meant to be. Confident, self-assured, and unapologetically yourself. 6. Reflecting on the journey. Embracing what you've learned. As we reach the final part of this transformative journey, it's time to reflect on everything we've uncovered and embrace the lessons that come with stopping the chase. This isn't just about relationships, it's about reshaping the way you see yourself, your worth, and the life you deserve to live. If you've made it this far, you've already taken the first step toward reclaiming your power. Now let's talk about how to fully embrace what you've learned and continue growing. The first thing to acknowledge is how far you've come. Stopping the chase isn't just a choice, it's a journey. It requires courage to break free from old patterns and step into the unknown. But with each small step, you've been laying the foundation for a more fulfilling life. Let me ask you, how do you feel now compared to when you first started this journey? Maybe you feel lighter, more confident, or more at peace. Those changes are a testament to your strength and growth. One of the most valuable lessons from this experience is the importance of self-respect. By stopping the chase, you've declared to yourself and to the world that your worth is not up for negotiation. You've shown that you value your time, energy, and emotions enough to protect them from one-sided pursuits. This newfound self-respect doesn't just impact your relationships, it transforms the way you approach every aspect of your life. When you respect yourself, you set a standard for how others should treat you. You no longer settle for crumbs when you deserve the whole cake. You no longer accept half-hearted efforts when you're giving your all. And you no longer tolerate relationships that drain you instead of uplifting you. This is the essence of Stoic relationships, connections built on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine effort. Another powerful lesson is the value of letting go. As humans, we often cling to what's familiar, even when it no longer serves us. But letting go isn't about giving up, it's about making room for something better. When you stop chasing someone who isn't right for you, You open yourself up to the possibility of meeting someone who is. You create space for relationships that align with your values and aspirations. And you give yourself the freedom to grow and evolve without being weighed down by unreciprocated effort. Letting go also teaches you to embrace uncertainty. Stoicism reminds us that life is unpredictable, and our power lies in how we respond to it. By letting go of the chase, you're choosing to trust the process. You're choosing to believe that what's meant for you will find you, and what isn't meant for you will fade away. This mindset not only reduces anxiety, but also allows you to approach life with a sense of curiosity and openness. Now that you've stopped chasing, you've likely noticed a shift in your relationships. The dynamic has changed, not because you manipulated it, but because you've changed. You're no longer pouring all your energy into someone else. Instead, you're channeling it into yourself. And that energy is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are confident, self-assured, and focused on their own growth. Even if the person you were chasing doesn't return, you've still gained something far more valuable: the ability to stand tall on your own. As you move forward, it's important to stay mindful of the lessons you've learned. There will be moments of temptation to slip back into old habits. You might find yourself wanting to chase again, especially if someone starts showing interest after you've stopped. But remember this: you've worked hard to reclaim your power. Don't give it away so easily. Stay grounded in the principles of Stoicism. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you cannot, and prioritize your own growth and peace of mind. Let me ask you again, what kind of relationships do you want to create moving forward? What kind of person do you want to be? These questions are not just about your interactions with others. They're about your relationship with yourself. The choices you make now will shape the life you live tomorrow. Choose wisely. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. Stopping the chase isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of a new one. It's the moment you take back control, embrace your worth, and start living intentionally. It's the moment you realize that you don't need to chase anyone or anything to be happy. Happiness comes from within, from living a life that aligns with your values and passions. Now, I want to hear from you. If this message resonated with you, like this video and comment number 1 below. Your engagement helps us build a community of people who are committed to self-growth and empowerment. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos like this one. Together, we'll continue exploring the powerful lessons that help us grow, thrive, and create meaningful connections. As we conclude this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the transformation you've embarked upon. Stopping the chase may have seemed daunting at first, a leap into the unknown. But what you've uncovered along the way is that letting go isn't about loss, it's about gain. You've gained clarity, self-respect, and the freedom to live life on your terms. This isn't just the end of an old story. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one where you are the author, not a supporting character in someone else's narrative. When you stopped chasing, you didn't just regain your energy, you reclaimed your identity. You learned that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's attention or approval. You discovered that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. This realization is not only empowering but also liberating. It's the foundation upon which you'll build healthier, more fulfilling relationships moving forward. The wisdom of Stoicism has been a guiding thread throughout this process. It teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and choices, and to release attachment to outcomes beyond our influence. This mindset has helped you navigate the uncertainty of letting go and embrace the peace that comes from living intentionally. You've cultivated Stoic relationships rooted in mutual respect and shared values, rather than one-sided efforts or fleeting validation. But let's be honest, the journey doesn't end here. Life will continue to challenge you. There will be moments when old habits resurface, when the temptation to chase returns, or when doubt creeps in. That's okay. Growth isn't linear, it's a lifelong process. The important thing is to stay grounded in what you've learned and to keep choosing yourself, even when it feels difficult. Let me ask you, what will you do with this newfound clarity and strength? How will you carry these lessons into the next phase of your life? These questions aren't rhetorical, they're an invitation to action. Because knowledge is powerful, but it's only transformative when it's put into practice. If this journey has resonated with you, like this video and comment number 1 below. Your participation matters. It's how we grow together as a community of self-discovery and empowerment. And if you're ready for even more transformative insights, subscribe to the channel. This is just the beginning, and there's so much more to explore. Together, we'll continue uncovering the lessons that help us create a life of meaning, resilience, and connection. Thank you for being part of this journey. Remember, you have the power to shape your own story. You have the strength to let go of what no longer serves you. And you have the courage to choose yourself every single day. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay true to your values, and keep growing. Here's to your journey, one step, one choice, one victory at a time.